Welcome back to the Remedial Film Class Podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm Travis.
And as always, I'm George.
Hey, George, question for you.
Yeah.
Could you, within the next 47 and a half hours, find me someone you haven't seen in at least 3 years and help me bring them to justice and or shoot them in the face?
I mean, I'm pretty smart, so
You'll get laid.
probably.
I'll trade you some sex with someone who's
Try to
not
get
me.
some trim.
I can get some trim on the
Get
way.
some trim
maybe.
on the way.
Yeah.
See, that's a deal you
Sure.
can't refuse. Guys, we watched a classic 80s actioner, 48 Hurz.
Hurz.
It's exactly how you have to search it too.
It is
You're trying
not
to
an
find it.
internet search-friendly title.
No.
Not as bad as the movie X, which recently came out and was very difficult to search for. This one is second hardest, 48 space HRS period. Starring Nick Nolte and a very
That'll
young
get you there. And
Eddie
if that
Murphy.
doesn't get you there, add 1982.
It was as
After
hard to
you
find
can
as
find
True Lies.
No.
It was free on Paramount Plus for me. I mean, I guess I already paid for
Nice.
Paramount Plus, but
Yeah.
no additional charge. Hey, speaking of
That's
which,
ironic.
Travis, did you ever find your
Yes.
DVD?
No.
Man.
You know how pissed I was that I had to pay for this movie and I have probably 3 copies of it somewhere?
Man, I'll tell you, I love physical media as much as the next guy, but if you don't have critically important organization skills,
Well, I've been, and I have an entire rack. I have an
rack.
entire rack.
He
I
doesn't
don't even
even.
have a DVD.
You got me a DVD rack?
I have a whole rack that I've been transferring movies over to that are specifically for this podcast. So,
I don't own a DVD.
No, I own like 2,000 in one.
Actually, we should make that a contest for all of our listeners. Everybody guesses how many DVDs Travis has, and then we actually count them.
I can't even guess because I can't find them all. I was so pissed off. I was like, I can't believe I'm buying this again.
Whatever. It was
It's
worth
fine.
it.
It's fine.
Now, had you seen this before, George?
No.
Had you
not at
ever
all.
heard of this movie before, George?
I don't think so.
Okay. I also had never seen this movie before. This was a first-time watch for me,
Oh, you're going to hate it.
and I love to not tell Travis when I haven't seen a movie that he wants to watch because
Yeah.
this moment in the show when he realizes, like, oh no,
I'm screwed.
what have
Yeah.
I done?
Well, there's no science in this movie, so that's good.
That is true. There was no
But
no
and Travis came with
mispronounced-
notes.
I have notes.
Oh, you brought notes.
Oh,
Nice.
Shit.
So if he's got to carry it, he can. Well, he's going to have to.
Oh,
No,
eh,
I think Dan liked this movie. Do you guys think I like this movie?
I'm hoping you did, but I can understand if you didn't.
I think
But
my position with this show going forward, and has been for a while, is I don't really care if you liked it because you probably should have liked it. And so if
Right.
you don't like it now, hopefully you understand by the end of the show why you were wrong.
Why you should like it. Exactly. That's the original premise of the show. We're
Yeah.
going to explain to you why you're supposed to like it.
Yes. Yeah, and I understand
Unless
that.
it's 12 Monkeys, then that's not
I understand
possible.
that. In the past, I've gotten frustrated because I don't like something, and then you just tell me I'm wrong because I don't know anything, and I'm like, well, I mean, like it's
You're
you know,
100 in.
subjective.
You
at
kind
this
of know
point.
something, though.
You know, it's subjective, right? You can not like a movie,
Yeah.
but also, flip side of the coin, that's the whole point.
Right.
You're not going to show me bad movies. Actually, that's not
No,
true.
we have. You have.
But anyway,
But sometimes they're leading us to the good movies.
that's true.
And sometimes they're the exact movie you asked for, and then you realize, why did I ask for this movie, Silent Night, Deadly Night?
No.
Or that DVD I have.
Or the Jason where he becomes a
Part 9.
pathogen and spreads
Oh,
that
yeah.
way.
COVID,
So it's-
COVID Jason.
It's, yeah, COVID Jason, basically.
Oh, you mean Jason Goes to Hell?
Yeah. Goes
Is
to
that
hell.
the one?
What are you, walking? Jason goes to hell.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh. And I'm coming to you guys from my new recording studio, which I haven't
Yes.
ironed out all the kinks yet. So
Yay.
if you hear a little more echo than normal, I'll be working on that over the next few weeks. But
So
thank
if we
you.
suck, it's your fault.
Thank you for your patience with any echoes or, strange new noises. Still getting used to the new space.
Nice.
But I did get all my DVDs and Blu-rays and 4Ks into my DVD closet of doom,
Nice.
which it turns out I accidentally overbuilt. So now I need like 40% more DVDs.
Oh man, what are you gonna do?
I'm going to buy more DVDs.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Box sets.
Oh man, all the box sets, as long as they're standard size.
Now you have to find the Halloween with the snow globe. That'll take up a few pieces.
Yeah, we've already got 4K Halloween. I'm gonna stick with that. Anyway, guys, 48 Hurz. Like I said, I'd never seen this before, and I have my preconceived notions of what Eddie Murphy can be as a valuable player in a movie. I'm guess this is like his first big movie, so that's interesting to see, like,
first
the prototype. Like, what could he be? Shining through what he isn't yet, which is pretty fun.
This is Eddie Murphy's first movie?
He's like 19, 20 years old in this movie. Yeah. This is his first movie.
Oh my God!
This is his, what do you call it?
He was doing stand-up before he did movies, right?
Yes,
so
he was on SNL already.
Okay, and he was. Had he done? What are the two main big stand-ups?
Raw and Delirious.
Yes,
he did neither of those yet.
He hadn't done those yet.
No.
Okay. Wow, that's funny.
And I think Delirious.
Because I thought the red
86
suit in the trunk
87.
was kind of like a throwback to his what he wore.
This
oh my God, he hadn't worn that suit
He
yet.
hadn't worn any of that. He'd been doing stand up,
Right.
but like in the clubs, not on HBO.
Right.
He was on SNL
Wow,
when he did
that
this.
blows my mind, bro.
Yeah. And a lot of
He
this
was
is improv.
Amazing in this movie.
Yeah.
For a first movie, holy shit.
Yeah. And he almost got fired for not being funny enough. So explain that
Get
to
the
me.
fuck out of here. Dude.
I don't know, man. He was really kind of going for it at times, like the drama, the serious acting thing, in a way that I hadn't ever seen him just fully commit to.
What's funny is he, in his stand-up, he does a character, not a character like most people would do with characters, but he has like this thing that when he imitates guys from his neighborhood, and they're like loud talkers, and when he does that a few times in this movie, and he starts yelling, getting all this attitude, and when he does that in this movie, I was like, because I was watching it with my wife, and I kind of paused it because the kids were kind of in the area, and it was the Torchies scene, the bar, the redneck bar.
Yeah.
And I was like, I said, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Like, this is a classic scene, and I know there's a lot of F-bombs and there's a lot of shit going on. We might have to send them in the other room because I don't know what's gonna happen. I haven't seen this in a while. And yeah, it was everything I remembered. So I was like, okay, good. I'm glad I sent them out of the room. But yeah, he goes up to 11 a few times in this movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure Dan probably.
He really does. And I mean, the chemistry between
Nick Nolte.
Murphy and Nolte is it's fantastic.
This is categorized as like one of the first buddy cop movies.
Yeah.
But I think that's for comedy action because
Okay.
like there were a few, like there's In the Heat of the Night and like other movies, but they were serious. They weren't, they weren't like this kind of movie. The shtick. Even though there was serious tones, is obviously, and I don't really consider it a buddy movie.
Well, it's not a buddy cop movie because
I consider
there's
it
only
like
one cop.
Right, but the whole, don't belong with each other kind of thing, that's like a trope for buddy cop movies. So it's like, Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan. Like, it's just, they're two people that don't belong together, and then they, hilarity ensues. But
this one kind of forgot about the hilarity ensuing at times. But like, to me, this looks like, as a newcomer to the movie, kind of like the Town That Dreaded Sundown kind of thing, where it's like they're on the cusp of a new money-making formula, but they're not quite there yet. So that was cool to see, like, Dirty Harry lean into being an a-hole, right? Because the thing about the Dirty Harry character is they always come back to, like, yeah, he's gruff, but he has heart. And this Nick Nolte character was a lot more like, yeah, he's gruff, and he kind of really sucks. But, like, it gives him room to grow, I
think that there's more, and there's not much of a redemption, but there's kind of an arc there for him.
Oh, there sure is.
So there's an arc, but he gives himself so much room to grow by being kind of irredeemable for half this movie.
Yeah. And I think they do that on purpose. And there's a few cop movies that are like that, where they make the guy just a complete lowlife, to where you're like, this guy's a loser. Instead, he's not really a loser. He's just a curmudgeon. He's just such a shitbag. He doesn't. I don't know. There was no redeeming quality to him until he met, Reggie Hammond. Then he realized, because I think they have an exchange in the movie where he says, when they talk about, where he apologizes for being such a bigot and all this stuff, and then he's like, it comes with the job, and then Eddie's like, it's a little more than that, and then they laugh about it because he's right. Like, and then they go from him basically being established as racist individually to even showing the captain being just as bigoted, to where it kind of solidifies that they're part of the system. Yeah, it's kind of a progressive idea. Like, they're very for this time period. Right, I would think they're implying not so much racist, but definitely prejudice. Like, there's a prejudice there that they all have, and they face it
in a way that I didn't expect them to just go head on with. So that was interesting. It was definitely...
But they covered on the other end, too. Like, Reggie Hammond's just as bigoted and just as prejudiced. But I don't think either of them are racist. But they definitely have major prejudices that put them in their,
Well, I think
spot.
it's a combination. It's a combination of... I think they use race to put down the convict, right? Because I think at the end of the day... I don't want to put thoughts in people's minds, but just what my observation is. And actually, no, not just my observations. There's studies that have been done about this, where cops get into a you're either good or bad kind of mentality. And if you're a quote-unquote convict, then that's all you'll ever be.
You're lower and low.
Exactly. That is just like how cops see you. And then I think all like the race stuff that was on top of that is just a vehicle to put
I think
them down.
Are they in Louisiana? Where are they?
They're in San Francisco.
San Francisco. That's right. Yeah, the hills and stuff. The original script was based in Louisiana. It's funny he mentioned Dirty Harry. Clint Eastwood, when they first thought of this movie, was actually on board to play the convict part, which would have been interesting.
That would have been
way
less
didn't think
effective.
You were going to say convict.
Yeah. Yeah, the original idea
that wouldn't have been funny at all.
I don't know if it was supposed to be funny originally.
Yeah, I think it's better funny.
Yeah, they had like this whole almost like a blowout kind of storyline where it's a little bit more almost like Silence of the Lambs, where they have a high level, high profile kidnapping. They have to find them in 48 hours. So it's kind of like almost exactly like Silence of the Lambs.
Right.
But they had many rewrites.
At some point, it looks like they moved it to L.A.
Didn't they start in San Francisco?
They must have started in San Fran.
And it may just be that they used a lot of L.A. locations.
Or Sacramento, or like there was definitely like
they didn't do a great job of establishing where we were. I had multiple thoughts the whole time, like, are we in New York? Because certain shots look New York, but then certain shots are very California.
Yeah, it was definitely California.
I don't know. I'll probably cut all this out because we don't know where it was set. Where was this thing set?
don't cut it out because
it's a failure of the movie. Like, where's this movie?
No, yeah, but don't cut it out because there's more about that I'd like to talk about. Like as a movie, as a whole, the movie had flaws, right?
Oh yeah.
So that's one of them. The lack of if I watch this whole movie and I don't know where it's based, that's a problem.
Unless it's purposely done. Like 7 didn't establish the name of the city.
No, but they definitely established San Francisco in the beginning when and also the other thing is continuity.
No, she tells a story about San Francisco being the coldest winter was in San Francisco.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, it is San Francisco. So why is all of it shot in L.A.? That's weird.
That's weird. Do they have those steep hills in L.A.?
I don't think so.
No,
that's what I'm saying.
Those are San
Francisco. He gets out and he drives.
I think it was based in San Francisco.
Maybe that's where she lives and he has to drive. How far away is San Francisco from L.A.?
Way
it doesn't
far
matter.
away.
Okay, all right, so then it's definitely not that he's
San
driving
Francisco.
from San Francisco.
It's just
to LA
they shot all of the outdoor locations for like buildings and stuff in L.A.
Yeah.
That's a weird choice.
So the other thing, like just continuity wise, there was just things that like didn't make sense. And maybe like actually, let me ask you a question. He pours whatever is in his flask in the mug of coffee, right? Did he purposely not drink the coffee or bring it with him at all?
I don't know.
Or was that just an oversight? Like he never...
It could have been just an oversight, or it could have been a character choice. Like,
well, he was drinking out of the flask later. I think that was probably just continuity.
No, I get that. But the scene goes, he pours alcohol in his coffee. She tells him that's not a great way to start a morning. They freak out, and he leaves after they basically make up. He thanks her for the coffee that he never drank, and leaves.
Yeah.
Did they do that on purpose? Like she convinced him not to drink the alcohol coffee?
Maybe.
Or was it just a continuity thing?
I would normally have said like, hey, let's look at the scene again and see if we can figure it out. But here's the thing about 48 Hours that I noticed right away today. Our friend Nick Nolte, who is based in, I guess, San Francisco, the land of Dirty Harry, carrying the same firearm as Dirty Harry at the beginning of the movie, intentional choice. He must have borrowed it directly from Dr. Loomis, because it shot 7 times when he had it.
You know,
and then son of a gun, the bad guy gets his gun and makes it shoot 8 times without reloading. So I'm going to chalk a lot of this up to just sloppy continuity.
Yeah, there was a lot of sloppy continuity. And with the car chases, not really. I guess they're car chases.
They avoided car chases because that really wasn't a big thing yet.
That's okay. Well, what I'm going to say about the car chases is that they definitely used the same film.
Yes.
More than once.
I'm glad you caught that. Because like, you're talking about the very beginning they used. Later on, you see the speedster.
Yeah.
That Luther's driving, and they're following him.
You see the same car
so good
multiple times.
But you see that car in the beginning when he's driving to work, and I'm like, that's Luther's car, because I know. Right. And I'm like, oh, there's Luther's car, and it's like an hour before you even know who Luther is, and they're following him, but it's not them because he hasn't met Reggie Hammond yet. And that footage ends up in the movie Commando as well.
Oh, that's great.
You see Luther's car in a stock shot. So it's like that's Luther's car in Commando.
Right. So there's also when they're in the Cadillac and they're basically having a gunfight in the street between the Cadillac and the bus.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
right?
The stagecoach moment where if they just would have shot the driver of the bus, the whole thing would have been fine.
Yes.
Right.
And Gans is a terrible shot.
Or the tire, maybe.
Yeah. He's firing a cannon and it's not even hitting the windshield.
Dude, at some point my wife came home like halfway through the movie and she watched a little bit of it with me. And it was the very last chase where they're trying to get Gans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're just shooting back and forth. I'm like, these fucking stormtroopers can't hit shit. Like, it's the entire movie. The entire movie, no one can hit shit with their guns. It's like, what is this like? You know,
except for the cop in the beginning.
Historic, like the Revolutionary War times where
pulling their muskets out.
But just
anyway,
watching that scene with the bus reminded me of an old quote from John Ford where somebody had asked him, why didn't the Native Americans just shoot the horses at the beginning of Stagecoach? And he said, well, then there wouldn't have been a movie.
Yeah.
So the bus scene had to go as it did.
Well, that's not what I was going to say. I was just going to say there's a specific where the car hits the bus and swerves off of it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it at least twice. The exact same one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 3 times.
It was expensive.
Most movies are made in editing. When they're editing a movie, sometimes like we need one more car hit.
Just one more.
So they go
hit.
back and they grab the same one and they repeat it,
dude.
They could have at least like zoomed it in differently or something.
Yeah.
And then like the way he drives the car, there were certain parts of this movie that made me think, is this satire, right?
Okay.
So, and those parts were, not in any particular order. When Luther drives out the parking garage, right? And they're going to tail him. It throws it in reverse.
Right.
Like
they're not
Like,
quietly.
And then they're quietly tailing Luther. Like Luther didn't just see this guy wailing out of the driveway behind him backwards into a 4-lane highway.
He's a little preoccupied, Luther.
Dude. And just the way he drove the car through the entire thing in general was like way over the top.
Yes. And what's funny is I know we won't watch this movie on this show, but we might have to just for the very reason that we're talking about. There's a movie called Last Action Hero.
Okay.
It's a Schwarzenegger movie.
Okay.
Where he plays a satirical version of Arnold who comes out of the movie screen and is in real life.
That sounds fantastic.
It was one of those things that looked great on paper, and I think it just never caught on. There are some great parts about it because the satire of it, but that kind of stuff, like just the huge K-turns without even touching the brake, just totally skidding out and getting into a parking spot. Like all those things are just obnoxious. That's because of movies like this where it's just like, come on, that's not really happening. But they took themselves seriously. They didn't airplane it. They were like, yeah, no, this is the way that he's driving. This is how he drives.
Yeah, some of the lines at the very end delivered by Gans.
Yeah.
Gans.
Oh, you shot me?
Gans.
You shot me line? Yeah.
Like,
he's
Cringe.
killing me.
He's killing me.
I'm like, this acting is so bad.
What's sad is
he's bad.
Good through. I won't say he's good through the whole movie, but he definitely doesn't stick out like a sore thumb until the end.
Okay, I thought
because he's really not in it that much.
I had a feeling about him the entire time, and it was like confirmation bias, I guess. At the very end, I was like, "See, I knew he was a terrible actor this whole time."
He's Wish.com.
Yes.
Willem Dafoe.
Yes.
Yeah, he's always been Wish.com Willem Dafoe. Dan loved him in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, I'm sure.
Mortal Kombat.
He was Raiden in that movie.
Oh yeah, he was not even. Yeah, he was knockoff Wish.com Christopher Lambert. Yeah. God,
yeah, we can't get Lambert again. Yeah. Let's get the guy from 48 Hours.
Ooh. Oh my God.
Hurz. 48 Hurz.
So directed by Walter Hill, this movie, who I guess produced Aliens.
Yes.
He acted in Messiah of Evil, which you guys probably never heard of, but is a fun little weird 70s horror zombie flick thing. And he directed a movie that I didn't like, Streets of Fire. Shout out to Ken, my buddy who loves it. Good for you, man. I couldn't jive with it. But when I'm watching the last shots in Chinatown, and I'm like, wow, the lighting design looks really cool. This is like the edge of the beginning of the 80s when stuff's getting purple and pink and blue and weird. And I was like, this almost looks like that Streets of Fire movie, but like only good. And then I looked, I was like, oh my God, it's the same guy. He just like, he saw that, he showed that last scene and I was like, hey, well, didn't this look great? Let's do this for an hour and a half. But set it in an alternate past, and Dan's gonna hate it. But the little microdose of it that we got in this movie was great.
I don't hate Streets of Fire, but again, I'm 10 years older, and I was a kid when that movie came out, and that was like pre-comic book movies. It was kind of
that's your Three Ninjas.
Yeah,
not
that's
my
Travis's Three Ninjas.
I had a huge crush on Diane Lane, and she's in that, and I don't know. I liked. It's weird. Like Rick Moranis is in it, and he plays like a stage manager.
He plays Rick Moranis.
No, he plays like a badass.
Oh,
it's like it's like, dude, you're Rick Moranis.
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty wild. That was the coolest part for me was to see him play against type.
Yeah, he was playing like a real little dick.
That's
like,
cool.
He was good, and Michael Pare, I liked him from The Outside, not The Outsiders. Eddie and the Cruisers. And then Willem Dafoe was the villain, and he was like an unknown, but he was just he was creepy. I don't know. It was
sounds like an all-star cast.
10-year-old me loved it. I haven't seen it in a while, but I'm willing to watch it.
It reminds me a little bit of the Mario movie, just with a slightly more coherent plot. But it's like overproduced, kind of Blade Runner levels of like too much production.
Yeah.
That I kind of lose touch with the reality I'm looking for.
Yeah, it was like Blade Runner meets Grease.
Yeah. Ew.
Yeah. Ew. I don't think I own it, so I can't let you buy it.
But I thought of it like
you
know, when you go to like Costco and they have the samples and you try something, you're like, wow, this is really good. This is like salty and you know, I'll buy a box of this. And then you get Streets of Fire and you're like, oh, it's too salty. Like the first bite was great, but now it's nothing but salt. Ugh. That was my 48 Hours versus Streets of Fire experience.
I hear you.
That's a good analogy.
48 Hours is good, though. I like this movie, guys. It was fun. Like, it wasn't fun in a traditional, like, buddy cop sense, but, like, it was an entertaining watch. It was kind of like, ugh, at times. Kind of, it had, like, Porky's, shades of Porky's mixed in. And weirdly serious at times. But overall, I dug it.
I would put this up there with, you know, like a Trading Places.
Oh, I liked it better than Trading Places.
But I mean, like in the normal, like everyday person that grew up watching those movies, like Trading Places is like in some people's top 10 movies.
Oh,
I
see what you
definitely
mean.
put this up there, even with like a Ghostbusters. Like it's not as funny as Ghostbusters, but it has that rewatchability for me. Like I have kind of a nostalgia. Travis loves this movie because this is like one of the first R-rated movies that my dad let me watch with him. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of inside jokes from it. We would quote it all the time. It like became our movie. There is some boobs in it, but I was like 10-year-old. Like,
so it was like
boobs in it.
It was like the scene in Vacation.
Yeah.
Well, and it's that pre-mid 80s breast augmentation boom.
Yeah.
So all the women look like fit and natural, which is kind of the style again now. But for the past 40 years, it really hasn't been the style in movies. So that's fun.
And this movie has one of those moments that we got very heated on about American nudity.
How do you mean?
One of the girlfriends of Billy Bear. I can't remember which one. The one with the bat. This girl thinks she's Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name, but she was around. She became really big in the Star Trek world.
Okay.
And she was the mom in Pet Sematary, and she just became like a big A-list actress, serious, turtlenecks. Like when I saw her in this, I was like, "Oh my god, I just saw her boobs." Like, I would have never in my life would have thought. It's like it's just one of those people that you didn't ever think was going to do a nudity scene.
I don't know the timeline. Did she do all that turtleneck stuff before she did this?
No, this was. She was very young in this movie.
This was early, and then she did all the turtleneck stuff.
Yeah, so I can't remember what her name is. I don't want to bother anybody with a quick search. But yeah, some Star Trekkie out there is gonna be like, oh yeah, we love her.
So that was special for you?
No, it wasn't special for me. It was one of those things that I recognized her. I've seen this movie 100 times, and
so I
just recognized her this time watching it, saying, "Oh my god, that's what's her name from Star Trek."
So special for you?
No, it wasn't.
I'm just
special.
kidding. So what you're saying is it could be special for some people.
It could be special for some people.
Guys, this movie was special for me. Dan had a special moment in this movie. I'm going to tell you about it.
Did you?
Guys, they go to the apartment of the girlfriends. Are they a couple? At one point they say something really negative about the two being a couple, but I think they were just bashing their masculine. I don't know.
Yes.
That was a mess. There's a lot of problematic treatment of homosexuality. Mess. This is a lot of problematic handling of homosexuality, and
this is not a progressive
in this movie.
kind of movie.
No, certainly not.
There's a lot of F words that are not fuck.
But anyway, they go to that apartment, and the two women that live together are watching an aerobic video.
Yes.
Dudes.
I was going to say this.
This is why. Friday 4 has that weird shot for the movie made by the producers of Friday 4 for the movie aerobics video. It has to be because this is in 48 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were just like, hey, 48 Hours has it, so let's make one of our own and put it in Friday 4. Guys.
As someone who grew up in that year, those years, those were huge. Those aerobic videos.
Did they look like that? I mean, like if you watched them on TV,
they had like the rotating 360 camera and everything.
Wow, what a
they
time
were on like
to
a
be
spinning
alive.
stage. Yeah, yeah. When I saw that in Friday 4, I was already familiar with those things.
Gotcha.
There was a couple like exercise things that would be on in the morning, and it was like there's like a famous guy, not as famous as Richard Simmons.
It was just to make sure that like all the 12-year-olds woke up in time for school.
We had something to watch when we were eating breakfast before school. But yeah, if you had enough time, you could find those aerobic things on TV.
So
Very
wild.
strange.
But yeah, I've always wondered,
if
like,
you were that motivated.
If you're that motivated,
as a person who
Prism.
grew up after that period, I always wondered, like, what in the hell is going on in Friday 4? And thank you, Friday 4. But also, what the hell? And so to see it in this movie, I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, here it is. Here it is before Friday 4 did it. Did I mention to you guys that the video from Friday 4 shows up in another movie?
No.
I was on
the exact same one.
The exact same one is playing in the background of a party scene at like a mansion in the movie Forbidden Games from the 90s. That's the one where it's like a Skinemax type quality American Giallo with a detective that can like I haven't watched it in a long time, but he's like a medium, but he has to make physical contact with you to be able to like read your future, which is convenient for a softcore Skinemax movie. He's got to make contact. But
there's also a character that talks to bugs.
Is that a Shannon Tweed movie?
It doesn't have Shannon Tweed in it, but she would improve the quality of the movie.
Okay.
If she were
Joan Severance. She was another one that was in everything.
But it's a good movie. I recommend it. It doesn't have a Blu-ray yet, but Forbidden Games, guys. It's really fun and shit. But it does have the Friday 4 video in it, so that's cool.
Well, somewhere out there is a geek that has that aerobics video on Betamax.
Yeah.
Like, I think that became huge with the VHSs. Like, everybody's like, you got to see this. The fact that it, like, I've seen it in 2 movies already is scary enough. I don't own it, though. I don't have it on DVD. Maybe I do, and I just can't find it.
Well, when you watch Forbidden Games, guys, not for the show probably, but maybe for a spinoff. But if you guys watch Forbidden Games and you see how little of that video is actually in the movie, remember that I caught that and brought it up today.
It's like a split second.
It's not the kind of thing I should have ever known or noticed, but here we are.
That's funny. So, overall, Dan, if you were going to give a letter grade to this movie, 48 Hurz, what would you give it?
It's a solid B+ from me.
Oh, cool.
Definitely one I'll watch again.
I'm going in the same ballpark. I'm going to say A-.
Yeah.
Sweet. I'm going to say a D. It's terrible. Terrible pick. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, because it was yours. Nostalgia Travis.
So quotable, though.
Nostalgia Travis is like, A+.
Hey, so you guys want to hear something kind of sad about my brain?
Sure.
No, do we?
Why the hell not?
I don't know that I've ever seen Nick Nolte in any movie. Like, I know the guy, right?
Right.
But in my brain, I mix him up, and this is horrible, with Gary Busey.
Oof.
And so when I started to watch this movie, I'm like, oh, God, here we go. This guy. And I'm like, wait, this isn't the same guy.
No.
So I looked him up. I'm like, oh, I've never actually seen Nick Nolte in any movie. And also, he's not Gary Busey.
Nick Nolte to me is like if Josh Brolin was like the brother of Gary Busey. Like if they were all related, or Jeff Bridges. Like he has that Jeff Bridges feel, Nick Nolte, to me.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
There's a few movies that came out that were really big with him. He had like that Jeff Bridges career where he was like in everything and then he was in nothing.
I've seen Nick Nolte in a couple of things, but all supporting actor later in his career stuff. Like, when was his prime? What are his, like, prime movies besides 48 Hours? Cape Fear,
this is it, bro.
Maybe?
Cape Fear was big. He was in that movie with Barbara Streisand. That was like a big thing. The Mirror.
Oh,
Has
you
Two
know, I
Faces,
watched
think.
that one. No.
No, you didn't see that one. I'm just saying, like he was a leading man at some point. It was weird.
Yeah, I'm interested
Blue
to see
Chips
when
was
that
kinda big.
was.
I know. I recognized his name when it came up on the credits.
Right.
Huh.
I don't know that I've ever seen him in anything. He reminded me of the guy from Saw and also Princess Bride.
Oh, Carrie Elvis or Elwes.
Yeah.
Elwes.
Kind of reminded me of him
How do
in
you say that
more
guy's
of this
name?
the Saw version of
I think
him.
it's Elwes.
Elwes.
But
Elwes. Rachel Creed. I looked it up. That's the name of the.
that's the chick from
Rachel
Star Trek.
Creed. Yeah. She was. She's big in the fandom.
Well, hats off to her.
Oh, Denise Crosby was in this movie? Wait a minute. I know her from Dolly Dearest. Which one was she? Oh, she was one of the girlfriends.
Oh, there you go. And
Oh,
the other
she's
one
the
that
Star
was,
Trek one. That's the one you're looking for, dude, is Denise
Is
Crosby.
that who it is?
Yeah, because she was in Pet Sematary. She's in. I know her from Dolly Dearest. Because
I'm an asshole.
I only watched
you
the
edit that out?
shittiest of movies.
That's her character name in Pet Sematary.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Rachel Creed from Pet Sematary, played by Denise Crosby.
Played by Denise Crosby.
Neve Campbell.
Neve.
Neve.
Neve. Leave me alone.
It's Neve Campbell.
Neve Campbell.
Yes. Campbell.
So yeah, okay, yeah, that's funny because yeah, I knew her as the kind of hot mom from Dolly Dearest, but she's here not yet a mom, but still attractive.
Mm.
There you
And
go.
Annette O'Toole is another one that she plays Kate's girlfriend.
Yeah, I'd seen her
She-
and stuff, but
She goes on to play Lois or Lana Lang in the Superman movies.
and she's
Mm.
like the friend in Cat People, which is I
Yes.
guess the same year as this. Cat People is a fun one that we'll never watch on this show, but I'd like to.
Mm.
Any excuse to watch Cat People, guys.
That and what's the other one?
Superman
There's
3.
another one. No,
Oh,
no,
God,
no,
we'll
it doesn't
never watch
involve
Superman 3.
involve this actor at all. It's like a Cronenberg or something that you want me to watch.
Naked Lunch?
No, maybe it's not Cronenberg. It's shit.
Cronenberg.
I mean,
He's
there's-
got names bouncing around in his head.
No, no.
I
It's
have
the
been
guy
trying
who
to get
does,
you to watch Cruising forever.
Oh, God.
No, not Cruising. But that is one of them.
If
that
we
you-
watch
yeah,
Cruising, we're watching Streets of Fire.
that's one of them.
I would
But,
watch Streets of Fire if we watched
just to
Cruising
watch Cruising.
first.
Total Recall.
Oh, Verhoeven.
Ironside?
Showgirls.
Verhoeven.
Verhoeven. Yeah.
Showgirls. Yes.
Oh, wolf.
Showgirls is the one I was thinking of.
Joe,
We need a
your
whole
movie,
second show
wolf.
just for the shitty movies I want to make you watch. Cruising is not a shitty movie, though. It's a good movie.
I think it might be a good idea to do like a Mystery Science Theater
for
a
bad movies.
type of setup for all these movies that Dan wants us to watch.
I think you
that
would
are-
have more
that are
fun.
bad, that are admittedly bad.
We'll watch them.
You would have more fun watching. Don't ever say Them is a bad movie. I love Them. It's good. The
No, but
science
it's
is
got that-
better
it's that-
in Them than it was in that shitty Jennifer Lopez movie. But that's okay. I'll let it go eventually. But yeah, I think a Mystery
Screaming
Science Theater.
ants.
I think sitting around with Travis and I watching some of these movies would make you enjoy them more because you wouldn't have time to be in your own head like, ugh, this acting. Instead,
That's
you'd be
true.
like laughing at how fun this movie is.
Which is why you like Shaun of the Dead, because I was there the whole time watching it with
That's-
you, poking you, going, that was funny. You should laugh at that.
No, that's not true. I mean, you were, but that's
Right.
not why I liked it. No, I think you're right.
What's
I think one of the reasons why when you show me a movie like that I don't really like it
Well, if
is
it's
because
someone that
there's
they-
no one here to share it with.
that? Right.
You know?
Road trip,
That's,
dudes.
Like when we were watching Psycho, and you were reacting to, what's her name going into the basement, and you're like that guy going, don't go in there. Like you were experiencing it with someone as opposed to just kind of watching it as a chore. But I don't know if the other person watching it if they're like, you have to watch this, is my favorite movie, then that puts it at a different level. Then you're watching it
there
differently.
are many different dynamics to that.
Yeah.
You could be watching it with someone who loves it, and in that case, it kind of like puts some pressure on you, which is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But you could be watching it with. I mean, you could also be watching it with someone that loves it, and you also love it, and then it's not uncomfortable at all.
It's pretty much every time I watch a movie with Gabe and he hates it.
Yeah,
a movie I love.
there's
yes. It's not good.
There's a bunch of different dynamics that can happen there. I think it's a whole well that's untapped.
Yeah. But then he winds up having like Weird Science being his favorite movie, and I'm like, oh, okay.
That's weird.
It is weird.
It's very weird.
It's a good
and
movie.
He loves the Batman. He loves the Bat.
Yeah.
Also a
Mr.
good movie.
TikTok.
Very different.
Mr. TikTok. I love
Mr. TikTok is a
3-hour
Batman movie.
The most serious Batman movie.
Yeah.
Thus far.
Shocker.
Hey.
Oh, the other trope in this movie that made me remember this movie when we were watching Bad Boys is the screaming captain.
Oh, I'm so glad you brought up Bad Boys. But keep going.
Yeah, the screaming captain. The Joey Pantoliano.
Joey Pants, yeah.
In Bad Boys is the exaggeration of every captain in every movie.
Yeah.
Every Hill Street Blues episode.
In
like
Bad Boys, the original.
Yes.
Because by Bad Boys 2,
he's taking Xanax.
Yes, which is hilarious.
Yeah, woosah.
So I know we're not allowed to talk about Bad Boys.
I think what we should do.
Let's talk about it anyway.
Is that a post credits talk?
No. Wait.
Okay.
Here's what I think we should do. We should thank the listeners for their time, and then on the flip side of the little music sting, I want to get a check-in report with George, having now watched the first 15 to 20 minutes of the first Bad Boys. And then we'll have it on the record for later when we finally talk about Bad Boys. So, George, thank your listeners.
Thanks, listeners.
48 hours. Go watch it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, seriously, it's good.
And it was on Paramount Plus, so you don't have to pay that much for it.
Yes.
Go get it. Coming out on 4K, too. Perfect timing.
Luther, you better tell this guy something. He's having a ball with his car door.
I don't think we talked enough about Eddie Murphy's comedy.
Oh no, we could do another half hour on him.
It's fantastic.
I'm sure we'll get to it.
What's fun?
Oh, hey,
what's
we
funny
never
is
told
that
George what we're
laugh,
watching next week, by the way.
Oh, we haven't done that yet. But the one laugh that he does it twice. He doesn't do his.
Yeah.
He does that.
Yeah. It's totally sarcastic. It's
for
fantastic.
Like 10 years, that was everybody's laugh. Like
Yeah.
whenever like the okay, it was almost like okay, sure.
Yeah.
That laugh was like, all right, buddy.
Yeah.
He did do the hoo 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 laugh
Yeah,
once,
he did it
though,
later.
which made me
Mhm.
happy. Hey, George, what are we watching next week?
I have no idea.
You don't know. Hey, Travis, what is
I don't
George
know.
watching next week?
I don't know.
Okay, good. Glad we got this out of the way.
I guess it's gonna be Showgirls then.
Oh, man, don't tease me like that.
All right. We are going to watch a movie.
Go on.
Keeping in our tradition of learning something from other things that we watched.
Okay.
We're going to watch a movie called Beverly Hills Cop.
Okay.
Do you know anything about that?
Think so.
What do you know?
Chris Farley.
Okay.
Okay.
Right?
All right. He's ready.
Or am I thinking of the spoof of Beverly Hills Cop?
I don't know.
That was Chris Farley.
We'll have to see next week. Thank you for joining us on the Remedial Film Class Podcast. As always, you can find us at facebook.com/remedialfilmpod or on Twitter @remedialfilmpod. We'll be back next week with a very Chris Farley lacking Beverly Hills Cop.
Wow.
Your mama's all right.
You know what? I'm just gonna stop saying shit about movies that I haven't seen.
No, I love it.
All right. Fantastic.
Is that a movie about an earthquake? Is he wearing leather?
Hey,
I'm usually really good at reading people, but like whenever I say something about a movie I haven't seen, like like you guys could react any way, and I'm like, I can't tell if I'm even close.
What's funny is every time Dan, after we say that, and you give a completely uneducated assumption of what we're watching, he does the okay, and I picture him pushing his hair behind his ears like Wayne.
Excellent.
Okay. Excellent. Okay.
That's fantastic.
Oh, God. Okay, so Bad Boys.
Victor says what?
Tell me about Bad
Yeah.
Boys, George.
Bad Boys. So, obviously for homework I was supposed to watch Bad Boys, and what I was trying to settle was whether Bad Boys the original, not Bad Boys 2, the first one, whether it's boring or not.
Well, apparently it is.
Don't say that.
Okay.
So, little inside baseball for the listeners. Travis and Dan and I talk usually through a group chat frequently about lots of different things. Whenever it
share memes.
Whenever it comes to talking about movies, we say save it for the pod. Right? So we'll talk about
it's very hard.
Some things, but that's just one thing that we don't talk about outside the podcast is movies. Right? Unless they're movies that we've seen.
Yeah, we want to lay it down.
So today we were in a group chat and I typed an entire paragraph about Bad Boys, and then I just had to delete it because I can't say it. You know? And then what I then sent was, quote, I just typed an entire paragraph about Bad Boys and had to delete it because I got to save it for the pod. So, here's what I typed.
Oh, boy.
I'm not sure if I'm going to be a good judge of whether Bad Boys is boring or not. When Bad Boys 2, which is supposedly the not boring one, bored me.
But it's subjective.
So I had watched the first 15 or 20 minutes of it, and that is not a dig that I could only watch 20 minutes of it.
No,
I'm not being a prima donna. I was up at 5 a.m. tying in a transformer, and then I didn't stop
roll out
doing stuff until 11 o'clock when I got home.
Right.
Multiple different jobs, whatever. And then I was like, you know what? I'm wired. Let me pop in Bad Boys. And I lasted 20 minutes just because I was just physically dead.
Right.
So 20 minutes is not a knock on Bad Boys.
I'm trying to think of what has happened in 20 minutes.
So far, what you didn't get in Bad Boys 2 with the relationship building between the two cops, I was getting in Bad Boys, which I liked, the relationship. I also like Joey Pants as a
pill popping,
stressed out, totally
bucket, yes.
Exactly. That was good too. So I think that I'm gonna like Bad Boys.
Have you gotten to the girl yet? I can't remember if she's in the beginning or
the girl.
Yeah, there's a witness to something.
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, it's someone you know, so I'm hoping you.
Then I probably didn't get to it yet.
Okay.
So, I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know because on one hand the character development is really good so far, but maybe it's because they're characters that I've seen before and I'm invested now. Whereas when I just jumped into Bad Boys 2, I was like, I don't care about this. I don't care about these people. So it's almost like I'm watching a prequel.
Yes, I was just gonna say it's kind of like sitting down after watching the original Star Wars trilogy, dabbling in the third movie from the prequels, where you're like, I know these people.
I wouldn't even say that. I'd say it's like watching Rogue One.
Okay.
Like a good Star Wars movie.
That's good.
So I'm not sure where I'm going to land yet, but my first instinct was, at the very, very beginning, was like, this is just going to be boring to me. And it's not fair to you, Travis, because I didn't care about the one that was supposed to be interesting.
Right. So,
but then it kind of I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to land on it yet. I'm giving it a shot.
To be continued, I guess.
And you, Travis, assume that because I watched 20 minutes of it, that I was bored by it, or blah, 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 and that's not...
No.
That's not true.
What I assumed was I saw the dots. I saw the dots.
Because I was typing an entire paragraph.
Then they disappeared.
Yes.
And then you were like, I'll save it for the pod. And I'm like...
Because we have to. That's
right.
our rule.
So I'm thinking, oh, shit. He just went off on it and then realized...
Dude, Travis is the biggest pessimist
I
ever.
am. I am. I'm
like,
Eeyore.
And he's also like, he's so invested in like what my opinions are about movies.
Yeah.
Why do you care what I care?
Because I want you. I want you to like everything.
I know
like.
you do.
I want to be. What's the word? I want to be confirmed as a movie fan. And if I like shit that no one else
likes,
but
it absolutely can't be that I was writing an entire paragraph about how much I loved it. And
if you were a girl,
right you were.
If you were a girl and I asked you to the prom, and then I saw a bunch of dots, and then they disappeared.
That's true.
And then you said,
"That would not be good.
I'll talk to you later."
That would not be good.
That's what it felt like. I was like, "Oh shit, oh man." All right,
but it's also like it also kind of speaks to your whenever you try to call an audible when you think I'm not gonna like the movie.
Yeah,
it's just. I just love your personality.
I have to say, I'm
man.
like 85% correct on that though.
Yeah, well, most of the time, yeah. But I just love that you're like, no, just cancel the whole thing. It's gonna be a dumpster fire.
Yeah, we're not recording tonight because
Dude,
that shit's floating by on
dude,
fire.
We're like over 100 episodes in, and you're just like, this is just gonna crash the whole podcast at this point.
Because I'm off sitting there going, oh god, he's gonna quit. This movie is gonna make him quit. He's gonna realize he's wasting his time, and we're wasting his time. And why spend the half hour to set up when he's gonna spend 20 minutes shitting on it? That's what I think. So I'm like, oh god, he's gonna.
All right, first of all, it doesn't take me half an hour to set up,
I know.
but it does sometimes take me 2.5 hours to watch the movie.
Yeah, if you decide to watch the whole thing.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's Bad Boys so far. Thus far, I'm still teetering on the middle of the fence here.
Okay. Just
I'll let you know
when you watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Just send me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That's it. You don't have to talk about it because it's killing me.
No, we're gonna talk about it.
Okay.
We're gonna save it for the pod.
Beauty.
And guys,
so next credits.
Just a little tease, but it's getting awfully close to autumn.
That's true.
I'm very excited.
It's my favorite season.
Mine too.
Yes.